Get out of my office. Are you stupid? Good day and welcome to my channel. If you are new, please consider subscribing. So today we shall be discussing 5 crucial things that Nigerian lecturers need to stop doing. That's right, 5 things that Nigerian lecturers need to stop doing. So kindly watch this video to the very end because the 5th point is the most important point. If you're a student, watch till the end as well so that you can point out those things that you think that your lecturers are doing. And if you're a lecturer as well, please consider watching this video, with an open mind to the very end so that you can know those things that you might be unconsciously doing, that you might be doing without even knowing that they are wrong. Consider sharing this video as well to your fellow lecturers and to your fellow students. So without wasting much time, let's get right into it. So number 1, like you can already guess, is stop shouting at your students. Stop shouting at your students. Most especially when it's not necessary. You go into a lecturer's office to complain and then the next thing they are shouting at you. It simply doesn't make sense. So you need to understand that the university is not a military cantonment, where generals and the commanders scream commands at their subordinates and then expect them to just follow orders. You get? So we are students. We are here to learn. You get? You should understand that most of us are just leaving our parents' houses for the first time. So some of us didn't even turn 18 before leaving. So you need to understand that to a great extent, majority of us are still children who are yet to be matured. Okay, so please tamper justice with mercy. Simple truth is that when you shout at your students, you are indirectly sending a message to them. You are telling them that you are insecure and then you need to use intimidation to make people fall in line. You get. So another thing is that shouting at your students tend to, mess with their self-esteem. Because what happens when you shout at people, most especially children, is that they tend to retreat to themselves. And what that implies that they find it difficult reaching out to you when they have problems. And then they try to figure things out themselves. Believe me, when a child tries to figure life out by themselves, they tend to make serious mistakes. Mistakes that will end up affecting them and others negatively. Because I've heard most times when my fellow students they come to tell me that I have so and so problem. And then I'm like, okay, this lecturer is the person that can be able to help you out with it. And they're like, no, I don't want him or her to shout at me. And then at the end of the day, they end up making mistakes that end up having negative impact on both them and the faculty as well. And when that happens, the lecturers or the faculty tends to say, you were having so and so problem. Why didn't you reach out to us? That student failed to reach out because some time ago, a lecturer has shouted at him or her, and then he or she has retreated to themselves. So please, stop shouting at your students. I also understand that this tends to come from a place of frustration, most especially when it is like the whole class, or let's say a large group of students have similar problems, and then they start approaching the lecturer one after the other. The lecturer ends up getting frustrated, and then, you know, and then at the end of the day, ends up taking out his frustration on them. So, students, please, when you know that you guys have a problem, and it is something that is a group, please come together, appoint someone amongst you so that will speak on behalf of others. So point number 2 is stop missing classes. Stop missing classes. Now I understand that emergencies tend to come up, emergencies that tend to take you outside of the school, that make you absent from class. But then when it becomes too much, you are indirectly sending a message to your students. A message that says you are irresponsible, you are incompetent. Because believe me, when a class that is supposed to hold maybe 10, 15 times and then you show up only twice or 3 times. There are lecturers that they are supposed to have classes, 15 to 12 times with the students. And then from the beginning of the semester till the end, the students don't even know who their lecturer is. They don't even know who is taking the course. Because there are some courses that most times the students don't even know the lecturer that is taking the course. because the lecturer never shows up in class from the beginning of the semester till the end. And then for some, it is towards exam, a week or few days to the exam, they will now come and then try to, like jack up everything at once. Try to cover every topic. Topic that was meant to go for 15 weeks, to try to cover everything in a day is almost impossible. And most of these lecturers that tend to miss classes, they justify it by my job is not to teach you. My job is just to provide materials for you, and then you can go and read on your own. Believe me, you should understand that different people have different methods of learning. There are some people who can learn by themselves, and there are some people like me, who need to be taught. Because if we didn't need to be taught, we would have applied for all these universities online, University of the People, or National Open University, or even get a course on Coursera. But then we left our parents' houses. Some of us left our states. We took hostels that are close to school so that we can attend classes. And then when we don't attend those classes, it seems somehow. So please stop missing classes. Now understand that emergencies come up, emergencies whereby your attention is needed outside of the school. What most of my lecturers do is that when they know that they can't attend a class, they will send not just a PDF material, but also a WhatsApp voice note. A WhatsApp voice note explaining the topic that is in the PDF that they sent. So that students can listen to those voice lectures and then form notes by themselves. So please, mommy, daddy, if you know that you can't attend the class, please, even if it is WhatsApp voice note, send. We will manage. So point number 3, stop marking your students down. Stop marking your students down. It is wrong. We hear of situations whereby lecturers come in, most especially when students are just resuming. And then they kind of, put fears into the minds of students. They say things like A is for God, B is for me, C is for the serious students, and then the rest of you can struggle for D and E and so on. But believe me when I say that, that is wrong. And they try to justify this by claiming to retain a university or faculty reputation, a reputation that doesn't even exist. They take pride in bragging that for over a decade, no student has graduated with a first class. It is wrong. No, because life, education isn't meant to be so difficult. You know, the true test of knowledge, academic excellence, is measured by the number of students that passed, not by the number of students that failed. Because believe me, if students are failing your course, it indirectly says that you yourself, you are bad at your job, because it's your job to educate them. And when students fail your courses, it reflects badly on you. So I'm not saying that you should begin to mark them above probably like the marks that they deserve, but then stop marking your students down. If a student deserves an A, give him or her an A and not a B or B plus. But then if you shall feel like you want to do giveaway for us, mommy, daddy, extra 10 or 15 points is not bad. But don't mark your students down. And also, most times students fail as a result of, strict marking guides. There are lecturers that they give you, long and complicated definitions or examples, and then in exam they expect you to regurgitate those exact same words, those exact same answers that they gave you. Because the true test of understanding is your ability to, when you are taught something and then you understand it, you can be able to assimilate it and then form your own definitions, 3 to 5 definitions on your own. That's how you know that you actually understood what was taught, not your ability to cram and pour. So lecturers, please give room for creativity. So point number 4 is stop illegal sales of books and handouts. Stop illegal sales of books and handouts. We come across situations whereby lecturers tend to put probably like a purchase of a book or a purchase of a specific material as a requirement for passing. Like if you don't buy this book, if you don't buy this handout, you can't pass my course. It is wrong. Now, there is nothing wrong with recommending books or recommending materials for students. You recommend those books, you recommend those materials for them, and then those students on their own can then decide whether or not to purchase those books or those materials. If you feel that it is a must, that those materials are a must for your students, you go through the right channel, probably through the university or through the faculty. And then the faculty can then put the book as a must have for students so that students can buy them. And that takes us to the fifth and final point, which, like I said, is the most crucial point. And that is stop sleeping with your students. Stop sleeping with your students. I'm sure that you personally, you know that it is wrong to sleep with your students. Those are children who are entrusted into your care, and it is wrong for you to take advantage of them. And the sad thing is that it is quite rampant in Nigerian universities, where lecturers tend to exchange sex for grades and even go as far as threatening their students, that if you don't agree to their bid, that you will not pass their courses. I'm sure you know that sleeping with your students is a criminal offense. And if you are caught, you will lose not just your career, but your reputation and every single thing you've struggled over the years to accomplish in the academic field comes crashing down. And it will most definitely land you in jail. So believe me when I say that few minutes of pleasure with a teenager whom you are old enough to be a parent to is not worth losing your career and reputation that took you years of sweat and blood to build. It's not worth losing it at all. So please stop sleeping with your students. Okay, that will be all. So thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking to the very end with me. So if you're a student and you feel that probably there are some points that I missed, please let me know in the comments below. And if you're a lecturer, please share this video to your fellow lecturers so that they too can learn. And then if you know deep down that you are doing any of these things that I mentioned, please stop because it has a negative impact on your students. So once more, thank you for watching and see you in my very next video. Bye bye.